Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you are. I am in Sarangot, Nepal, which is the
Yep.
viewpoint for the Annapurna range. Although today I cannot see it because the weather is very bad. Today I have a very special guest. His name is Iskandar. So without further ado, Iskandar, please introduce yourself.
Hello. My name is Iskandar. I am an actor, dancer, English teacher, drama teacher, master's degree holder in teaching English as a second language, and I am a grammar Nazi, if that word is still applicable.
Okay,
So yeah, I'm very particular about grammar, basically.
yeah, I was just saying I like your setup.
That's
I
what I
think
mean. Don't at me.
I love your setup. It's cool.
Thank you.
Okay, so you are the right person
Yeah,
I need
thank you
to.
very much. It's just like my little Star Wars collection.
I see there, yeah. You are the right person I need to talk to because I put out the short the other day where I said trying to explain God to an atheist is like trying to explain color to Stevie Wonder. So, of course, the feedback had nothing to do with the actual statement I made. It had to do about things that's not even related, like proof and stuff like that. So I want to ask you from an English comprehension perspective, what do you understand from what I was trying to say?
All right. So basically, if I were setting this as a comprehension question for my students,
Mhm.
this would basically be like, all right, what does this idiom or this phrase mean? And in my own words, I would say that trying to explain God is a little bit impossible. Trying to explain God to an atheist, sorry, it's a little bit impossible because your target, the atheist, has no perception of what God is, and it's very similar to. It's likened to how a blind person, in this case, you used the R&B singer Stevie Wonder's name, very famous, um, in order to convey that point because he's well known to be blind. Mm. Now, the thing about figurative language, and I teach English as a second language in addition to drama. The thing about figurative language, such as simile, which is the device that you used, is that it requires a cultural understanding. So if you were to say this to even my students now who think of themselves as very well versed in pop culture, they don't really know who Stevie Wonder is. It's a hard sell to tell them about Aretha Franklin.
Mhm.
Most of them think that the Beatles are a collection of bugs. So yeah, exactly. So it's a little bit it's a little bit hard to explain if you do not know context or if you have no perception of what you're trying to say.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right. Okay, yeah. So you got my point exactly. It was about Stevie Wonder or just a blind person having no perception of the concept of color. So it would just be a pointless matter to even bring up the topic, right? Because, or the other
Yeah.
thing also is because I don't even think Stevie Wonder would be interested in discussing color because it does not exist in his world. So that was the other point I was trying
True.
to
True.
make is that as an atheist, since God, whatever the definition of God is to you, does not even exist in your world. So it's not even a topic of conversation. Would I be right
Mm.
in saying that?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, again, it just comes down to what you know and or sorry, what you're comfortable with exploring, and whether you can accept any point of view or not. I've similarly, someone who is God fearing, because my grandparents were, in fact, one of my grandfathers is a Muslim missionary.
Mhm.
He would defend his viewpoint on the existence of a God very, very fiercely.
Mhm.
So again, in his world, let's flip the script a little bit. In his world, there is no such thing as there is no God.
Mhm.
So he has that perspective, and an atheist has another perspective, which might be valid for them, which allows them to live life, comfortably in a good mental state of mind. And why we should, as in the comments in your shorts, why we should force a different point of view on somebody else is beyond me. Sorry, let me just for some reason my camera went off.
Went off, yeah, I see that.
Um,
Okay, so something seems to have happened to his camera, but it doesn't matter. We'll continue with the conversation. So let's just continue what you were saying, Iskandar.
as I was saying, someone who has a belief in God might also feel that if God is ever mentioned, and it's in a negative way, then they would defend their beliefs with
Right.
all of their might, because it's impossible for them to imagine something else. So coming back to perception, when we have figurative language used like this, and it's broadcast to a wide audience, of course there are audience members who just wouldn't get it,
Yeah.
because their perception blocks it. They're living their lives with certain set of blinkers. And the thing is, you and me, we also have a certain set of blinkers as well.
Right.
You have your beliefs, which are your blinkers, and no matter how much someone would say that they're open-minded, their open-mindedness is also a bit of a blinker.
A blinker, right.
And I'm talking about blinkers as in the eye covers that some horses have to
Yeah.
keep from getting distracted.
Yes.
To those of you listening who don't know.
Right.
So yeah. So yeah, even this open-mindedness, if it's not really about listening to somebody else's opinion, and accepting it, and processing it through your own filters, because again, your own filters, your own experiences are your blinkers. So you may be as open-minded as you can be, but you're going to come away with decisions made based on your own opinions, your own perceptions, your own previous education, even.
Right. Yeah.
That's my view.
Yeah, and I specifically, because it's in words, was when I said God, I specifically
Mm-hmm.
said it in that way because I wanted to see if, especially atheists, because what I've noticed with atheists is the minute you mention God, they become narrow-minded. They only have one viewpoint of who God is, which is the Christian God, not even Allah or the Jewish God, or the Hindu God, or just
God's
definition of
plural.
God. Because God can be anybody. Michael Jackson could be somebody's God. Because we all make money can be a God. God could be, especially based on the definition, it could be anything. Anything that you have put as the pinnacle of
Existence.
Yeah, existence, exactly, or existence of your moral structure, So, which I knew was going to happen. That's why I put it like that. And then I also knew that people, especially atheists, they can, like why I said Stevie Wonder and color, because even with this little experiment, they were trying to convince me how you can prove color. But what they don't understand is, yes, you can prove color to me, but you cannot prove it to someone who has no concept of color, because color is something that you see. It's a sensory perception. It's something that you see with your eyes, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Because again, you might describe a color to Stevie Wonder as, all right, it's brown. Okay, so Stevie says, or okay, any blind persons. So they would say, okay, what's brown? It's the
Yes.
color of shit. What does shit look
But
like?
exactly.
How can you describe a color? Yeah, exactly. So
You
so
cannot.
okay, now that I know the process of crafting that little experiment, I realize that it's more than just an offhand comment, because a lot of people on TikTok or whatever, they may or may not craft intentionally weird or stupid um statements
Mhm,
to get a rise out of people. So yeah, so now that I know that it is actually quite carefully thought out
mhm.
and crafted, yeah, so it makes sense, that the people who answered you came out of the woodwork the way they did,
Right, right.
because it is an experiment aimed at atheists.
Yeah, or just
Am I
at
correct? Yeah.
yeah, at
Anyone.
atheists, yeah, because I think they are like somehow the worst in this kind of, especially the new, not our generation. Well, not you, much younger than me, but not my generation of atheists. My generation of atheists, they all laughed. They thought it's a joke because they understand. They
Yeah.
understand it was Stevie Wonder does not understand color. He has no concept of color. He does not exist in his world, so it makes sense. I will not explain to them because God does not
Yeah.
exist. Same they and so they just laughed. It was all these the new, because I can see from my what is this, my analytics, that it's between 18 to 25-year olds. Is this new Gen Z? I don't know what they are learning in school these days. They are not learning to think, because this to me was not. It was not even a scientific statement. It's just English comprehension statement. If you understand English, you would understand what I was trying to say.
Okay, yeah, yes, but also there is that component of figurative languages, in your case, a simile, being something that is very context related. And
Mhm.
a lot of times, okay, kids nowadays, um, and I teach an age range all the way from 8 years old, sorry, 9 years old, all the way to 16 years old. I
Okay.
teach this age range, and there are some cases where, okay, let's throw away the preteens. Sorry, let's throw away the children and half of the preteens, because some of them do mature faster. So let's take half of the preteens all the way up to the 17-year-olds, because at this age they're learning to be more applicatory. They're learning to apply their knowledge, their experience a little bit more. Whereas younger kids tend to take everything very literally. It's
Right.
just how the human brain develops, right?
Mhm.
Uh, that masters comes in useful once in a while.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So, because younger children take things very literally, we'll leave that behind. But older children, teenagers, they're starting to develop higher order thinking skills, which are the
Mhm.
skills which is the ability to apply, to analyze, to evaluate different bits of information in order
Right.
to survive as a human being. And now, what I find is, a lot of them are still very they take things very personally,
Mhm.
according to their worldview. So, like for example, I've had a friend who mentioned, and it was an incident of classroom bullying. And I have a teacher friend who mentioned that, um not even aimed at him. It's the fact that they allowed the bullying to happen. Um, Mentioned that, okay, this is how World War II started. Someone gained power within Germany because of people just allowing things to happen.
Mhm. Yeah, just let it
Somewhat,
slide.
Yeah, someone just wanted to annex this part of the Rhineland. Go ahead. So, the other nations just allowed them, and then this person was allowed to take another portion of Europe, another portion, and he was allowed to take it. And then eventually it blew up into one of the most devastating wars
Right.
in the world. And he just used this as an allegory. And allegory is something that is taught in English class, because the in English comprehension, you should understand the use of these devices, because this is how
Right.
people write. They want to make language beautiful, but in making language beautiful, you also make it a little bit hard to understand and context based. Yeah.
Right.
So this particular child immediately took it literally and said, "Oh, so are you saying that I am Hitler?" Nobody is saying anything like that. Nobody
Yeah.
even mentioned that he's the bully. He's just
Yes.
saying, "Are you saying I am Hitler?"
Yes.
So yeah, so then it got escalated to his dad, and it eventually got cleared up, because the dad, being someone who is of my generation,
Right.
just understood the context. Okay, so you meant it like this, so it wasn't even about him. And then
Right.
and then the dad told the son exactly what it meant in context. And things got blown over. But so that's the thing. At that, even early teenage, people are still trying to figure things out, and I think the mental maturity rate has gotten slower, because the social media has been training to allow you to have your own points of view, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it reinforces and slows down, it slows down the ability to have higher order thinking skills, because you're spoon fed what you believe and what you know.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas
And you can be selective.
yeah, yeah, exactly, you can be selective. And the thing is, you don't even have to you don't even have to be an avid poster on Twitter. The algorithm just somehow knows what your preferences are.
Right.
So
Right.
so so, so yeah, because of that, like, I hate to use this word, but there are generated, easily damaged, um easy to trigger, thin-skinned,
Yeah.
and all of the worst qualities of a conversationalist, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, because of your age demographic, I firmly believe that it is because social media has been feeding these people one aspect of atheism, not the open-minded
Yes. Because
aspect,
atheism is
a
supposed to be
free
open-minded.
thinker. Yeah, yeah. Someone who is a free thinker will
Yes.
think freely.
Right.
Yeah. But okay. Sorry. I think the definition of atheism is also someone who believes in the non-existence of God. Correct?
Yeah.
So
Or
that is his
who
belief.
does not
So
believe
it's
in
almost
the
as
existence
it's
of God or gods.
yeah, yeah. So that is almost as bad as someone who is a religious extremist,
Yes, because
because
it's just
they
another
both believe
religion.
in something.
Yes, it's a religion. Yeah. They
It's
believe in
it's
not
just another
believing.
belief system.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
they will, again, coming back to my point, they will always just try to defend their point to the death, because at the end of
Right.
the day, human beings love being right, don't they?
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
And I try to keep an open mind when I do these kind of things, because I want to elicit conversation, back and forth, not necessarily debate, but back and forth conversation. And
Mm-hmm.
not even one person bothered to look at the definition of God. Like I say, they immediately jumped onto the Christian God. And the thing is, They don't even know who the Christian God is. But the Christian God is Jesus Christ. They didn't even know that. Because to them, God is some white guy in the sky with a long white beard. That sky daddy they always talk about. So they immediately jumped on that.
Yeah, the sky daddy. Well, it yeah, well, the thing about it is that in most mainstream Christianity, and from what I remember of reading the Bible, because even though I am a Muslim, I have read the Bible, the Torah, and some books of the Bhagavad Gita. So I have translations. So where was I? So there is the concept of the Holy Trinity. All right, fine. That's great for Christians. So yeah, you have the man Jesus, and then you have the Holy Spirit, who is another person, and then there's the Sky Daddy, which interestingly enough, every major religion in the world, in going all the way back to the Proto-Indo-Europeans, the people before actual Europeans, they have some concept of Sky Daddy, Jupiter, because it basically comes from a word which means Sky Father, literally Sky Daddy.
Right. Yeah.
Deus Pater, which becomes Jupiter, or in Greek it becomes Zeus. So it goes all the way down to now, where people believe in some heavenly father, and that is really okay. I'm not knocking anybody who does believe. And then we have atheists who believe the opposite, but they still believe in something.
No,
So
they
again,
still believe in the
people will
Sky Daddy, because that is all that is what I find so weird. They always talk about
exactly.
the Sky Daddy, which means you are believing in it. Like I don't believe in fairies, so when I talk about fairies, it will maybe just be for 5 minutes, because we're talking about some movie where there were fairies in it. But that's the end of it. If it comes up on the internet, I'm not going to interject there and explain why fairies don't exist. But you know what I'm saying? It's like it's a belief. They believe more in Sky Daddy than people who actually believe in the Sky Daddy.
Some other people. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, honestly, that's fine. But yeah, it is interesting. But okay, again, there's this perception thing where I feel that society has been conditioned to believe in the word God as Sky Daddy, whereas someone who might be a little bit more free and open with their thinking would think that your whatever you believe in could be some sort of deity.
God.
Yeah,
like me, I'm that kind of person. God could be a dog. I'm in Nepal. I see people worshipping dogs like gods. Cows.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I've seen. I've been in Africa. I've seen them worship coconuts and fruit. And,
oh wow. Okay.
God is so. And I've seen people worship Michael Jackson, the Kardashians.
Yeah.
I've seen them worship money.
I've also seen an article where a man in India believes that Donald Trump is a deity.
Yes, you see, so God is God can be whoever you want it to be. You know what I mean? It's up to you. What like we said earlier on, what is the highest the highest authority for you, or what you worship? Some people worship shoes.
Pinnacle of existence,
Yeah, so and that was my point with saying that it could. That's why I just said I didn't write it. I said it because when I say it as God, it's not a capital G. It's just a God. And but then, like I said, my whole concept, the whole thing was that Stevie Wonder has zero perception of color. So an atheist has zero perception of God, which was clearly, they made my point by coming up with all these Sky Daddy talk. shows that they have no perception of God.
Yep.
So, I mean, as
Yep.
far as I'm concerned, I made my point. So what do you think? Do you think my point was made?
All right. Yeah, your point was definitely made. And just the only thing coming from the English comprehension perspective and a
Okay.
cultural perspective, really. People might not understand the context of what you're saying, even if they know Stevie Wonder. Um, they know Stevie Wonder as a blind man. They know color as a concept of color, but because these people are sighted, they think that it's easy to
Explain.
explain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then honestly, going on about the proof of God's existence and all this kind of stuff, it just goes to show their perception is a little bit narrower than they might like to think.
To say yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Also, I saw you troll some of them a bit by mentioning this is Pride Month, so let's just mention it. You using gays, and there's a little bit of there's a little bit of kerfuffle in the comments. I think, was it you who mentioned the gays?
What did I say about the gays? I'm always mentioning the gays. What did I say about the gays?
Yeah, I can't remember. It's on my it was on my
On the
Google
short.
Chrome, but
Yeah,
I
no,
turned it off because
I think that person was, you know how people go, you're talking about chocolates and then they end up talking about chickens. They go off topic.
yes, I think yeah.
Yeah, I think he was
Okay,
just
okay,
going
yeah,
off
yeah, yeah.
topic,
All right, all right,
like,
all right. So it's
because I was saying, aren't we
yeah,
talking about
okay.
color? And because he was bringing in, you know how you talk about color and then Hitler will come in and transphobia and
Yeah.
homophobia and
Yeah.
Ukraine war
Yeah.
and
Okay, yeah,
Donald
yeah.
Trump. It's like we're talking about
It's
color.
yeah. It's that, it's that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no,
it's that. Yeah, yeah. So sorry. Yeah. It was
yeah, no. That's fine.
yeah, it was someone else. I'm trying to look in my phone now. Yeah. Yeah, that was very irrelevant.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we have 5 more minutes. Okay, so yeah, really, coming from the English teacher's point of view, uh it was quite a successful experiment in terms of comprehension.
Okay.
Comprehending means understanding, basically, and they
Okay.
have a lack of understanding because of the narrowness of perception that they
Okay.
carry over, even from when they were believers. Like, I think a lot of atheists also believed in sky daddy gods at some point, and then somehow get disillusioned and they reject,
Right. Right.
or they are looking for proof, because there is this saying, after all, that people who hate the most love the hardest.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So true. Okay. Well, it was very interesting talking to Iskandar. So I hope any other linguistic semantics issues I have that I can call on you. And is there any
Sure.
way where people can follow you so that if they want to know where you are, who you are, they can go and look for you?
Oh gosh. Okay. I'm on Instagram. At Iskisena. I might have to start putting up a block because there might be hate coming my way. All right. But yeah, I'm on at Iskisena on Instagram. I post a lot of stuff because I have a lot of identities. Both, I
Okay.
mean, like, I'm a teacher, director, and all that kind of stuff. So if you're looking for purely linguistic stuff, I might start something soon. I tried to start something, and I found out that being an English teacher during the day and doing more English research at night tires me out. So let's not.
Yeah, okay, I get you. I
Yeah.
get you.
Yeah.
Okay, nice talking to you,
Yeah.
and I hope we can talk again someday. Someday.
Yeah.
And please take care.
Someday. All right. You too. All right. Say hi to everybody there for me.
I will, and that
All
side as
right.
well. Cheers.
Cheers.